Well, it was the battle of the point guards on Monday night at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. The Cleveland Cavaliers escape with a 116-114 victory over the Milwaukee Bucks, thanks to a 39-point, 8-assist night by Darius Garland. An awesome night, and we break it all down on Cavs on SI. Well, the Cleveland Cavaliers just wrapped up a 116-114 victory over the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm Anthony Moeglin alongside my partner, Spencer Spin Davies, who's down at the Fieldhouse tonight as he was live and in person for what turned out to be, Spence, a instant classic. It felt like the Cavaliers got up to a massive first half lead, scored nearly 750 points in that first half. The team was on fire. It looked like it was going to be another runaway victory for the Cavs, but the Milwaukee Bucks behind point guard Damian Lillard fought all the way back, took an 8-point lead late into the fourth quarter, but the Cavs wouldn't go down without a fight. And it was all pretty much thanks to DG, the PG. Darius Garland was absolutely fantastic down the stretch. Well, I guess throughout the entire game, but definitely down the stretch as he led the way for the Cavs to get their victory. So, Spence, so much to get into, so many different ways we can go. It's dealer's choice for you. You were down there. Where are we starting this after an exciting night for the Cavs?
Well, first off, I think we have to just marvel over the 71-point half that they had. The efficiency was off the charts. They were shooting 70% from the field, at least close to it or something like that. Nailing 60% of their threes. It was just everybody eats for the Cavs in that first half. And that was obviously what took them to the point where they were leading by a lot. Unfortunately, though, I mean, defensively, the Bucks were actually like keeping in it. Like they were actually having a pretty decently efficient half as well. They just weren't keeping up with the Cavs' ridiculous amount of scoring. But the third quarter really flipped things up. Kenny Atkinson kind of mentioned it. The Bucks started drawing fouls. The Cavs, the ball didn't stick quite with the Cavs like that you might think. They were just missing shots, and they were kind of regressing a little bit on the shooting end. But man, that fourth quarter, that was so much fun to be a part of. Watching Darius Garland and Damian Lillard battle down the stretch the way they did. And the Cavs, they were in a hole for the majority of that fourth quarter, going into the 3:30 mark. I think they were down 5. And then Evan Mobley gets an and one on Brook Lopez where he had to really muscle one up off the glass. It was almost like a scoop shot, and that really got things going.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's talk about the first half right there for a second. Like, the Cavs score 35 points in the first quarter. Then they come out and score 38 points in the second quarter. And to your point, like if you're a Bucks fan, if you're a Milwaukee Buck, like you score 58 points, you're trailing by double figures at the half. But you're right, though. It was almost like the Cavs like had caught lightning in a bottle and just were like super hot, and you knew it was going to come back. But what stood out to me, Spin, and you, I guess, you get your perspective on it, is like outside of the Knicks game. This was the first time that it felt like this team faced some adversity, right? They lose the third quarter by 15 points. They give up the lead. They're trailing. And it was almost like you got this feeling of like same old Cavs, kind of like, all right, it was fun while it lasted. We're 7-0. That was a good run. But now we're back to earth, and it's going to be a disappointing loss. But like, started with that and one by Evan. Evan was fantastic all night. And then it just kind of led the way to like a crazy finish where, it was different for us. We're used to seeing Donovan take over in those closing moments. He gave it up to Darius, and Darius was like way ready for the moment tonight.
He really was. And, I'm going to keep going back to the thing I've been saying all season. The guys do not flinch.
Yeah.
When any moment, whether a team is making a run on them, when the Cavs have a big lead, whether they're down, it doesn't matter. Whatever point of the game, whatever the situation is, these guys do not flinch. They stick to their principles, and they do what they do best, and that's move the ball, make sure that guys touch it. Everybody's getting a chance, and they put up points. That's what they do. And then you look on the defensive end, just what they're able to do with – we've seen this for years with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. But, I mean, to Isaac Okoro's credit, he did a great job on Damian Lillard. You saw a lot of big efforts, too, to get into passing lanes, and Sam Merrill guarding a lot well tonight. George Niang's been very consistent in that way too. So big ups to them, and it just kind of led to the fourth quarter where it was run after run. Damian Lillard had a 5-0 run himself where he, was doing a step back, he had a step back mid-ranger, and then he had a pull-up three. Darius Garland answers with a three of his own, and then he has that little floater. That floater's looking beautiful right now, man. The way he's turning the corner, guys are thinking he's going to lob it up to somebody or spray it out, and then he can just kind of decide from there which way he's going to go. And he went to the floater a lot tonight. He went to that little push shot.
One of my favorites on the night was when he got caught between an alley-oop to Evan and like, I got to lay this thing up. It was on that fast break.
It was on a fast break, and that was also a very pivotal possession.
Huge.
That was, I think, when they were trying to tie it, and he tied it with that one late. So that was a huge moment. Yeah.
All right, spinning through the box score here. Evan Mobley finishes the game 17 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 blocks. Jarrett Allen was special. We're going to dive into him here in a moment. He finished the game 14 points and 15 rebounds. Obviously, Darius Garland is a star of the show, 39 points, 8 assists on the evening. He was 7 of 11 from three-point land. And then on the flip side, Damian Lillard was special tonight, 36 points, 7 assists. And he was supported by Brook Lopez, who had 21 points and 18 rebounds. And Spin, that's where I want to go next. I want to talk a little bit about Jarrett Allen, obviously banging on the boards, but that duo of Jarrett and Evan, and facing a guy like Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis for years has been a guy who's just been frustrating. He's a frustrating guard. He's frustrating to watch if you're an opposing fan of his, because he's so good and he like hustles. He does all the things well. He's tough to guard, and he's really good. He was really good tonight, but he was kind of outmatched by the Cavs bigs.
Well, Bobby really stepped up big time in the second half. I think that not only was he effective on the glass, but he is just such a bully down there. He's able, once he gets a left shoulder into you, he can use that little shot off of the glass close to the rim that's really tough. He's got a nice turnaround, Jay. Really a solid arsenal. He's been a sixth man of the year candidate almost every year he's been in Milwaukee, and he's beloved there for that very reason. Brook Lopez was quite effective. He didn't have the sexiest of stat lines, but man, was he good deterring guys in the paint in that second half, in particular that third quarter, where he just outbattled Jarrett Allen in one quarter there. And that was, why Milwaukee was able to kind of get back into it. Jarrett even admitted some of those shots that he put up, he probably shouldn't have put up, but he was a little bit, wanted to be aggressive there. So, but the Cavs, I mean, a solid effort here, I think, tonight. Milwaukee, you got to give a lot of credit to their bench. AJ Green it says he made 7 threes because he made that heave at the end, but he made 6 threes. It was a great performance for him. Sniper, hopefully, he can crack that rotation even when they do get healthy, because that's a guy that can really shoot the heck out of the ball. It's been that way too for a couple of years. I mean, two-way guy. He started off as a two-way guy and, earning his way up. Andre Jackson, big stuff for them. I thought Ryan Rollins came in and gave them some solid minutes. But we got to talk too about Isaac Okoro.
Yeah.
He drew an assignment the last couple of games of guarding Damian Lillard. And mind you, folks, this is stuff that I asked the players after. I'm going to post it on my social media. But Brook Lopez and Damian Lillard have such a nice pick and roll game because of where the screen is being set. So Brook, he goes so high on these screens for Damian to get loose because Damian's so lethal off the dribble or turning the corner, obviously able to step back to his right or his left, and he's just so quick with his footwork. It's almost like a sidestep more than a back step. But to guard Brook up top and to try and stay on to Damian Lillard is so difficult because Brook can light it up. He is somebody who bombs away from deep. So when you have that threat there and you have Damian turning the corner, you got to make decisions. Isaac stayed on Damian like glue. You wouldn't know it. You would not know it by the 2 games that Damian had. He had a 41-point night on Saturday, had 36 tonight, but he was all over him. And yes, Damian was probably frustrating him a little bit because he has the rip through that he got Isaac on fouls. He has, leaning into his body, whatever tricks he has to do to get to the line. He was 9 of 9 from the stripe this evening. But Damian Lillard's going to do that. He is an all-NBA talent. Darius Garland was talking about it, all-NBA 75 player. That's going to happen. But kudos to Isaac for sticking to his man, toughing it through. And listen, for all the stuff that happened throughout the game in these last 2 games where Damian made tough shots, in that last minute, Isaac was right there contesting. Damian Lillard came up short on a 3-point attempt. That stuff matters. Reps matter. And I know that Isaac was definitely frustrating Damian just from being as close as he was to the ball to him. And Damian also saw a lot of different looks. They switched up Evan Mobley on him up top. They had Jared on him. You know, Donovan and Darius took some turns. Like, you have to throw everything you can at a guy like Damian Lillard, but Isaac deserves a lot of the credit.
I would also say, Spin, that him chasing him around, and yes, maybe not as effective as you want him to be, but that takes the pressure off of Darius and Donovan to have to defend a guy like Damian across the court, right? Like, that gives your guys who you need to score a break on the other side of the ball where they can catch their breath and they're not having to chase one of the best scorers of all time around the court. But I thought Isaac was good tonight. He also was more of an offensive factor on Saturday night. So 2 good back-to-back games from Isaac. And that's kind of what he has to be. As he figures out his role on this team, like, be a star in that. If you do have to go chase the best defender around, go do it. And he does it with relentless, energy there. So he's certainly exciting to watch and to have. But you had caught on to something, Spin, that tonight felt like the from a lineup perspective, a little more stagnant, or a little bit more of what we were used to seeing last year, with some rotations that are familiar to us, with Dean Wade and Karras being out tonight. And it did play a role kind of as the Cavs were hot, and then as they let Milwaukee kind of back into it. Niang had 20 plus minutes. Merrill had a bunch of minutes. Like, a lot of these guys who we haven't been depending on for long stretches of the game had to play big roles tonight.
They did. And, credit to Sam Merrill. He's been just getting in there, doing his job. It's not even just the threes. It's setting screens for guys. It's drawing attention and bringing in the other team's worst defender in the actions so that they can be switched on to Cleveland's best offensive players. And, Sam doesn't just stretch the floor like that. He does so many other things. And defensively, he's guarding. He was on Damian Lillard a couple different times. And Dame's drawing fouls. That happens. But Sam was right there with him as well the last couple of games. And I thought he did a pretty dang good job of trying to stay in front and making him give up the ball as much as he possibly could. But Sam's done a lot for them. He played 28 minutes tonight. That's a lot for Sam. But those are some big, big minutes. George Niang, go right back to it. He's been huge all year. Defensive rotations, scrappy plays, hit a couple of corner threes tonight. He had 3 overall. One of them was a big answer there in the fourth quarter. So big stuff for him too. But yeah, this rotation was basically an 8-man rotation tonight with no Dean Wade or Karis LeVert. You did see a little bit of Luke Travers in the second quarter. Unfortunately, he got 3 fouls in 3 minutes. So he was done after that. Yeah. Craig Porter Jr. saw a little bit of action, but that was just like what happened the other night in Milwaukee, 5-6 minutes, just to give some guys a blow, as you would say. But they were, more heavily dependent on the guys that they're used to tonight. And even the shot distribution, it was very much so the core 4 tonight, all around, instead of more of the distribution we're used to seeing. But yeah, out of the gate, you have Darius and Donovan Mitchell, 25 points, 9 of 13 from the field. They hit 5 threes. They had 4 combined assists between each other. Like, it was a heck of a way to start the game, and that really set the tone. But you're right. They did face some adversity tonight, but lots of good stuff, man. Lots of good stuff.
So on that topic, ton of good stuff, especially from the core 4. Like, outside of Darius going for 39 points and having a bunch of those spectacular plays there towards the end, one of the images or videos, I should say, that's going to stick in a lot of Cavs fans' minds is Evan Mobley with a block on the defensive end at the rim, getting the rebound under the bucket and going coast to coast and finishing with a left-handed jam at the rim. And it was like, oh yeah, if he can do that, that unlocks a ton. We've been seeing like little it's been sprinkled in there this first week and a half, 2 weeks. But that's a clip that a lot of Cavs fans are going to have just cemented in their brains of like, if Evan can be that, we're going to be in trouble.
Looked a little bit like the guy that was sitting on the other side of the Bucks bench, did it not?
It sure did.
Just a little bit.
Sure
just a little
did.
bit. You come weak side help, block with your left hand, grab your own rebound, dribble all the way down the floor, take it with your left hand and then dunk it over somebody all in one play. That is exactly what they're picturing with Evan Mobley. The funny part is, okay, so Darius Garland said, yes, I've said all this time that he's a unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
Jarrett said, yeah, we want more. We want more of that. They're holding him to a standard, man. And I mean, in transition, that's what you're going to get from him. But you're constantly seeing when he's bringing the ball up, and Kenny still wants him to bring the ball up more and initiate more, because it's really making defenses have to make decisions on whether they're going to leave a Darius Garland or a Donovan Mitchell, how they're going to guard an Evan Mobley with the ball in his hands if he gets downhill, and how they're going to try to stop him from getting to the free throw line or him from getting to the rim. It's just opening up so many more options. And the thing about this offense in the half court that I'm noticing is, even if the first initial action doesn't work, there's a subset of actions to go to. There was one where I think Evan got denied of an initial pass or something like that. He gave it right to Jarrett Allen, who gave a handoff to Darius Garland, came around the corner, and then either hit a floater or he hit a lob or something like that. But just to see the subset of actions within the initial action, it's good to have options. And Kenny Atkinson brought it up post-game. You can't just be pick and roll heavy in the playoffs, because it bogs down. Guys are going to get switched onto, they're going to get physicaled up, and they're going to get into your body, and it's going to be grueling. You got to be able to have some diversity in the offense, and that's what the Cavs are doing this season. They are finding different ways and different sets and different actions to help get the ball in the hole and also make sure everybody touches it and everybody eats.
Dude, it's my favorite thing that he's already talking about what this team needs to do in the playoffs, right? You know, this team isn't set on being great in the regular season. They're not set on these early wins. They understand the goal, and it's awesome to hear Kenny talking about that. All right, speaking of that, Spence, big picture stuff. Cavs go to 8-0. Best start in franchise history, longest that they've been undefeated. And a stat I saw today from our Logan Potsky is that they've outscored opponents by 105 points. And every team in the NBA history who's done that has advanced to the conference finals, whether it be on the eastern side or the western side. So, Spence, as we sit here 2 weeks into this season, obviously, we'd like to sit here and say they're going to go 82-0. Maybe they don't go 82-0, but what is so encouraging about this group? There's a lot of things. It's Donovan being the star on Saturday. It's Darius being the star tonight. It's Evan's growth. It's a lot of different things. But in your opinion, what's kind of the top thing that you've been most impressed about as the Cavs have gotten off to this historic start in this season?
I'll put it in Kenny's words that he talked to us after the game. He said that there's just a calm confidence that this team has. It's not like they're overbearing or there's like a huge amount of swagger or look at me. It's just they know in their minds that they have to take the next step. And I think when you listen to the players talk about it, especially Donovan Mitchell, all he's going to say is, what does it matter? You know, it's only November. If you look at the videos that we've talked to him, anyone says something positive about the Cavs, he's like, yeah, that's great. But, and that's good that they're holding themselves to that standard. They can celebrate being a historic team, an 8-0 start tied for the best start in franchise history. They can celebrate that tomorrow. That's fine. But they have a big picture outlook. Mm-hmm. And what encourages me about this, there's so many things, Mags. It's like, it's their rotations. It's the distribution of minutes. It's the distribution of shots. It's the defense is staying and sticking. Different concepts and approaches that are really getting these guys to work together. I mean, we brought up 3 other members of the core 4. We didn't talk about Jarrett Allen, who had 14 points and 15 rebounds and 6 assists tonight, by the way. The game-sealing block also on Damian Lillard, just leather sandwich. Mm-hmm. So it's about making the core 4 fit together, right? And that's been Kenny's job, and I think he's done a really good job at tying up those loose ends. I'm not going to lie. So that's what encourages me.
They've never been a group in their number of years where they've been together, whether it was just Evan and Darius some years back. You had Jarrett in, then you had Donovan in. They've always had fun, but it looks like this year that they're really enjoying this, that they're really enjoying playing for Kenny Atkinson. They love the pace that they're playing at. They love this style. And, dude, it is fun to watch. This team
and
gets
they're
up
playing
and down.
and they're playing together. That's another thing that, like, everyone's like, oh, you can't make the core four work, so you have to definitely stagger the two, which they do throughout the games. But who closed out that game, people? It was the core four.
Mm-hmm.
It was Isaac Okoro, the same guys that we're used to seeing in the JB Bickerstaff era. That's the same lineup. How many times have we seen DG, Don, Isaac, Evan, and Jarrett play together? It's a different approach. It's a different concepts. And this is what's so exciting about this team, because they're getting it done. And now you have that game, the game tonight, and the Knicks game, and the game on Saturday, if you want to talk about, in crunch time, where they came up huge when they were trailing. Yeah. Like, again, it's November. I get it, and I'm not taking any, sort of victory laps. But I will say this: those who were patient are being rewarded right now. Those who are patient with the development of Darius Garland and Evan Mobley, and those two specifically, and they were getting all kinds of crap the last 2 years, 3 years, you're getting rewarded for the patience, fans. And if you weren't, then you're eating a whole lot of crow right now.
Yeah, and the reward is that at this point in the season, they sit alone atop the Eastern Conference, and they have a big stretch here coming up. So Wednesday, a nice little road trip for the Cavs. They head down to New Orleans to take on the Pelicans. That's an
banged up Pelicans team, by the way. They don't have C.J. McCollum. They don't have Trey Murphy. They don't have Herb Jones. There's a whole laundry list of injuries there. So it'll be very similar to the way that they faced some of these undermanned teams.
And that's one where you got to circle, especially them being banged up. Got to circle that one to go get that one down in NOLA, and then you come home for a matchup with the Warriors. You get a date on Friday night. That's always fun when the Warriors come to town. And this isn't the Warriors of the past couple years where they've been fighting injuries and they're a little bit older. They're 6-1, and they're off to a really hot start. Steph Curry looks like the 2015, 2016 boogeyman that we had to face for that stretch run of theirs.
Yeah, and he's finally back. He had missed a few games with that ankle injury that he sustained early in the season, but he's really liking how Buddy Hield plays off of him. Mm-hmm. Those two are a really nice mixture. Jonathan Kuminga's making a step. Andrew Wiggins is looking really solid, and then Brandon Pajemski, I think, is another guy that doesn't get talked about enough, who has really filled in for Steph while he's been hurt and done a good job of facilitating, and he is not afraid of any moment. So that should be a fun one. It's always fun when the Dubs are in town. Always. I didn't say Draymond Green, but you know that he's going to get some sort of reaction when they get back into town. Come on now, man.
Certainly. And it's our first time seeing them without Klay Thompson. So that'll be certainly a different look. And then they finish the week off with a Saturday night tip against the Brooklyn Nets, who always fun. They don't have the firepower that they've once had, but still a good team. They're 4-4, so right in the middle of the Eastern Conference. All right, Spin, before we head out of here, any final thoughts on tonight's game before we close up shop here?
I actually don't have any final thoughts. I just know that I'm going to be doing a podcast this week at some point, and make sure to subscribe to that and to like our YouTube channel, and hopefully you guys enjoy the post-game videos that I shot for us tonight. Thought they had some really good insight. And actually, I do have a final note. Sam Merrill was getting a ton of crap tonight because he had a pick six where there was nothing between him and the rim, and all the Cavs wanted to do was see him dunk the ball, but he laid it up.
So the clip is all time. He's running down the court and he's smiling. He's ear to ear, and you can see Niang and Thompson and Jared Allen all off the bench, like, dunk it. And he looks at him, smiles, and then just lays it up. I was proud. I've been there a number of times. The layup just as hey, you look over there, that counts exactly the same. It's still 2 points regardless.
I thought it was hilarious because Sam literally said what you said. He's like, it all counts for the same. But if you look on our YouTube channel when Sam Merrill's video's up, you'll hear the guys razzing him in the background, and it's hysterical. And even funnier, Kenny Atkinson was asked, could Sam Merrill have dunked that ball? He goes, I think he's more of a slap the backboard kind of guy. So that was one of the funniest quotes that we had all night. So make sure to check out those videos on our YouTube channel, because there was some really good post game tonight. And like us on all of our social channels, and pay attention to all the stuff we're doing, because it's really good.
There you go. Spin's the hardest working guy in Cleveland. So hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, or if you're not liking what we're doing, jump in the comment section. Let us know if Spin needs a haircut or a better smile. Some of those things we can work on with him. But if you're more into the written content, head over to our website, si.com/NBA/Cavaliers. It's right below me as it scrolls across the screen there. So jump over there as we got you covered wall to wall of your Cleveland Cavaliers. And tonight, they're winners at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse by a score of 116 to 114 as Darius Garland led the way with 39 points and 8 assists on a special night in Cleveland. So for my partner, Spencer Spin Davies, I'm Anthony Moeglin. So long, and we appreciate you hanging out with us on Cleveland Cavaliers on SI.